All right, mic working okay? All right. Whoa. All right, I'd like to go ahead and get started. So, good morning. Welcome to the official press conference. This opens the 2023 Chiefs Training Camp. So we're very excited to open up the training camp again. I'm Pat Dillon with Mosaic Life Care, and on behalf of the community of St. Joseph, we welcome the Kansas City Chiefs, our world champion Chiefs, back to St. Joe. For the 13th year, we're honored to be presenting partner and official healthcare provider of the Kansas City Chiefs during training camp. So, the road to the Super Bowl starts here in St. Joe, so we're pretty proud of that. We're going to do it again this year. I've been talking to Mark about maybe some Super Bowl rings, but we haven't made a deal on that yet. We'll keep working on it. We'll see what we can do. I do want to give out some thank yous if I could. We're really grateful for our partnership with Dr. Kennedy and Missouri Western State University and all of the staff who worked so hard to coordinate this camp. It is a big lift for Missouri Western, and they just do an outstanding job. Another special thank you to the City of St. Joe. Our Mayor, John Josendale's back here. The Buchanan County Commissioners, the St. Joe Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the St. Joe Chamber of Commerce for their efforts, really ensuring that it's an excellent camp for everybody that visits St. Joe. They go out of the way to make St. Joe such a hospitable place, and we hope you get a chance to enjoy it. One note, next week we're going to kick off what we call Red Rally Weekend, and we want to make sure everybody's familiar with what's going on. Friday the 28th, there's a concert in downtown at Felix Street Square. It's what they call their Sounds of Summer concert, and a local band called Swift Kick will be playing there. That just kind of kicks off the weekend. The following day on the 29th, the official Red Rally event starts, and that's going to be a big day featuring Tech Nine, country artist Blaine Howard, and a lot more stuff going on that day, so we invite you to come down and enjoy it, anybody from out of town. And then this information will be shared on our websites, our social media, the city's social media. But the great thing is it's free. So come down to these events, enjoy it, and it's really a big event for the Chiefs and all of us. So now it's my honor, if you will, I'd like to welcome Dr. Kennedy she's president of Missouri Western State University, to the podium. Dr. Kennedy.
Well, I'll get this up a little bit. Good morning all, and welcome to Missouri Western State University. For the 13th time, we are thrilled once again to host the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs Summer Training Camp presented by Mosaic Life Care. In fact, here at Missouri Western, once June, July rolls around, we just start referring to our campus as the SHKCC, Summer Home of the Kansas City Chiefs, right? And we very much appreciate the opportunity that the training camp provides us. It helps us showcase our beautiful university and our beautiful city of St. Joseph. And we appreciate the opportunity to work with such a world-class organization such as the Super Bowl championship, Kansas City Chiefs. So thank you, Chiefs, and welcome home. And I'd also like to offer a ton of gratitude for the many, many Missouri Western State University employees who work so very hard, BC, DC, and AC, before camp, during camp, and after camp, right? But they're making sure that all of our guests are well accommodated, and that training camp is a superb experience for everyone. Your efforts are recognized and appreciated. But as hard as they all work, Missouri Western State University could not put together a training camp at this level alone. We have a number of partners in our community who time and time again have stepped up to help make training camp such a huge success. And it is now my pleasure to introduce one of those key partners. Mosaic Life Care has been a critical component of the training camp experience from the very beginning. Mike Poore, who was introduced as Mosaic's new Chief Executive Officer a little over a year ago, after serving only 3 months as the interim CEO. I'd like to introduce Mike. He came to St. Joseph with more than 20 years experience as a CEO and more than 30 years in healthcare. And he and his delightful wife, Penny, have been welcome additions to our St. Joseph community. So it is now my pleasure to welcome Mike Poore to the podium.
I appreciate that, Dr. Kennedy. I am very proud to be here representing all of the caregivers from Mosaic. our caregivers work tirelessly 24/7 to take care of the Chiefs on and off the field, as well as our community. We, first of all, want to congratulate the Chiefs. And Mark, congratulations on your team being world champions this year. And we're glad to be a small part of that and very excited about it. Mosaic Life Care and the Kansas City Chiefs, we're both champions taking care of champions, and we're excited about that. I experienced my first Chiefs season this year. I was new to Missouri and got to experience Chiefs season, and I had the pleasure of bringing my younger brother to one of the games. He had never been to an NFL game before, and we were fortunate enough to go to the Jaguars game last year. If you remember that day, it was really cold and snowy, and he was just amazed. We actually tailgated with the mayor and friends, and it really showed how St. Joseph is behind the Chiefs. Of course, we had a great day that game, and again won. Of course, during the season, we've seen highs and lows, and we've had games that were thrilling ends at the end of them. But that's why this year we're highlighting cardiac care within our system. And so you're in good hands here during the excitement of our camp, that you will have world-class care in cardiac care for the season. Make sure you watch our social media. We'll be giving information out during the camp about what's going on. And welcome to St. Joseph, and let's go get another Super Bowl. So with that, I want to welcome Mark Donovan, President of the Chiefs, and have him say a few words.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be back. 13 of the last 14 years, 14 summers, we've been up here. It obviously is a lot more exciting when you're able to be up here after winning a Super Bowl. And that one year we weren't up here was the year after we won the Super Bowl in '54. So it's really, really exciting to be back, and really exciting for our fans to be able to celebrate with us as we turn the page into the next season. I want to thank Dr. Kennedy, Mike, Pat, everybody for welcoming us and being such great partners. You've all heard me say this again and again and again. This is a critical period of time for our organization and for the success of our season. And without the cooperation, without the partnership, without the commitment of the entire staff, from the athletic department to the operations team, just dealing with day-to-day challenges to make sure our camp is as efficient as it possibly can be. And then one thing that you've heard already, which is really heartwarming to us, is the commitment to the fans' experience. It's what we do, and it's great to see partners who believe the same thing. The camp is really, really an important opportunity for our fans to see our players up close and personal, and we want that experience to be as good as it possibly can be. So we're excited about the season, we're excited about starting and kicking off here, and it all does start here in St. Joe. I will say one thing about St. Joe. From the first time we came here, the citizens, the fans, the business community have been so welcoming and so supportive. It really does feel like home when we come up here. And so we're excited to be here. We're excited to recently have extended our partnership to be here for this year and another year. So it's going to be a great partnership for at least another year to come after this. I'm going to hit a couple highlights. Blair did a great job yesterday of highlighting all the good things about camp for us, so thank you for that. But a couple things you should be aware of and our fans should be aware of. I mentioned how exciting it is to be back here after a Super Bowl win. We've gone to a ticketing system, so to come to camp, you need to go online at chiefs.com/training camp, get the information there, and sign up for a ticket. To give you some perspective, we have not had a practice yet open to the public, and we already have 80,000 tickets out for training camp. So make sure you get your ticket. The other thing is parking. Parking is online. Get a parking pass before you get here. It makes everything more efficient and makes the experience better. We have some additions to camp this year. The university has done a great job of upgrading some pieces of the campus. In addition, you'll see out on our practice fields, we have a product that we invested in a couple years ago to upgrade tailgating at Arrowhead. They're called tailgate suites. And we rolled 2 of them up here from the stadium at the back end of the field this year. So you'll see a new product out there. It's a great way to have a VVIP experience at training camp, and we're excited for our fans to see that. All that information is also on our website. And then the final piece I would say, which I say every year, is we have a free app. It's a mobile app. It's also on our website. Please go download that. If you're planning on coming to training camp, it is the best way to be in the know as to everything that's happening that day. We want the experience to be a really good one. With weather in the summer, sometimes things change. If you enable the push notification, you're going to get up to the minute information on how your day may be effective in a good way or a bad way. When we do get storms, obviously we move inside, and unfortunately it's impossible to take care of the fans inside. So we want you to be aware of everything before you get here. With that, I'm going to ask Dr. Kennedy and Mike to come back up here. We'll do our annual photo op. How are we doing, one at a time? Are we doing it together? As a group? All right. So I'm going to take over Pat's role here for a minute in BMC. We do this every year, so I welcome any questions for Dr. Kennedy or for Mike. They don't want to talk to us. And consistent with every single year, I'd open it up for questions from you all.
I got a camp question. You said 80,000 tickets. How many do you cap per day, and what is your limitation?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So we have learned through the years, back to my point on having a great fan experience, 5,000 to 6,000, maybe 7,000 people is about the max you can put in here to have a good experience based on the way we're set up now. So we'll cap every day. We have a number of days that are sold out. Our season ticket member days are sold out already. As you know well, we're pretty focused on data. There's also a no-show rate every single day, so we factor that into how many tickets are out there. But, you know, this will probably be the highest attended camp in our history.
Mark, it's your 10th camp here with Andy, and I just wonder if you might be able to get your arms around how to describe what he's done in this time and how he's affected such change.
Yeah, I'd go back to the interview process in Philadelphia. He's done what we expected him to do, and more. He's a process-oriented, proven winner. And he brought process, he brought stability, he brought experience, and he clearly brought results. So it's been, I say this all the time, it's a really, really special time to be part of the Chiefs organization. It's a really, really special time to be part of our fan base. And internally, like, we appreciate it too. We don't take it for granted, and Andy's a big, big part of that.
Just a quick follow-up, I mean, not to chase anybody before, but I mean, the contrast in what this means, I mean, to be at this time in the Chiefs' history, marketing-wise, strategy-wise, I mean, what does that enable you to do, also with Patrick, obviously?
Yeah, I think you look at the talent on our team, you look at the success we've had on the field, that's the unprecedented part, right? We've never, when you really look back at the history of this franchise, you've never had this success. We've had superstars, clearly, but as the world has changed and as it's gotten smaller and smaller, our superstars are now worldwide superstars. One of the reasons we're being so aggressive with Germany and Mexico to grow even more. We haven't, I always cite Lamar. You know, one thing you learn when you come into this organization is the humility of Lamar Hunt. And trying to figure out a way to be humble, but also be proud of the success on the business side is unprecedented. And we're in places we've never been. We've seen results we've never had. And that's all great. The focus is still the same. How do we deliver the absolute best fan experience every single time? And it's all related. Right? Having Patrick and Kelsey and Chris and having that team, having a Hall of Fame coach, having the experience at GHA Field, I mean, there's nothing like it, but it's our job to make sure that's that every single time.
Yeah, the Royals ownership is set there, and it talks to you about, say, make your big decisions in the next 3 to 5 years. What are those conversations been like, and have you guys done to work on a plan for when the Royals leave, whenever that may be?
Yeah, so I'll try to cover a lot there because I know it's an important subject. To answer your question, the partnership with the Royals has been great, and it's really, really critical to both of us that we have a good partnership as we go through the decision-making process. We've been consistent in every time we've spoken that it is a process, and it's a really important process, and we're still in the process, but we're making progress. I want to be consistent and reiterate something that Clark said last time he spoke on this. You know, if everything plays out the way we think it's going to play out, our preference for us is to upgrade and renovate the stadium at Arrowhead and make GHA Field even better. We've gone through the progress and made some progress there. There are still 3 viable options on the table, and we've got to do the due diligence on renovate, upgrade, build new on-site, or build new somewhere else. So all 3 of those options are still part of our dialogue. We've learned a lot in this process. The good news is we think the building itself is actually structurally pretty sound, which gives us the opportunity. Having said that, we've learned that it's going to take a significant annual investment to keep that building structurally sound. And the other thing we've learned on the good and the bad is, just like any project, right? There are certain days when you get that phone call, it's like, hey, we just found this. Might be an issue, right? And when you're talking about a core sample of cement that was poured in 1970, those issues they could be significant, and they could factor into the decision. So, headed towards doing what we want to do, making good progress towards that. Still a lot of work to do, and still a lot of due diligence to do. As it relates to the Royals and their decision, obviously that factors in as well, right? So if and when they go, then that creates opportunity for us. Well, what does that mean, right? And it gets really complicated. You got a sports complex now that has one tenant. How do you deal with that? You got a sports authority. I will say this, in addition to our communication with the Royals, which is pretty consistent, you know, we're obviously talking to the mayor, to the governor, to the county, to the sports authority, and they're all in the loop on what we're doing and how we're doing it, and very supportive.
If the Royals did move to Clay County, how does that change things for you guys? Did it be on your own to extend the tax? Thought about that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, we've thought about all of it. So I say that jokingly, but the reality is you've got to be prepared to be flexible and be able to pivot. That's a big one, right? Because all of a sudden that brings in, as you brought up, what happens to extending the tax? Because now it's 2 different counties, and what happens to the sports complex? So all those things play into it, and then the timing plays into it as well. You know, we still are on plan to be ready for an April vote, if that makes sense for us. If the Royals decide to stay in Jackson County, then we've had discussions about how we do that together. And if they go, then that is a variable. We got to be ready to either continue on that path or pivot. Our team has done a really good job of just being ready. And I feel like we're pretty well prepared for whatever happens.
Could there be a relationship between whatever the Chiefs end up doing and what you have to do for the World Cup?
Yeah. So it's yes, but the timing is very interesting, right? 31 is the end of the lease. All the work on the World Cup has to be done 24, 25, 26. Then you got 27, 28, 29, 30. So it's a little bit of like, that would be really fast forwarding everything to try to tie it all together. The question then becomes, what are we going to do for the World Cup to be compliant to host that amazing event that potentially we could keep or benefit from or not have to redo? Versus we've got to make the building requirement proof for World Cup, and we got to do that absolutely perfect. We also have to play a football season pretty quickly after that. And we want our fans to have the best possible experience. So we can't really sacrifice the football experience because we did some things for World Cup. So it's a huge puzzle piece for our operations team. Again, we have a really talented team around us, and they are really well prepared for it. It's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a 3 or 4 year challenge as we roll this out. But we've got a good plan, and we've got good options. We got some areas we can pivot. We're working with FIFA very closely, and obviously a great local organizing committee, and they're well aware of the challenges that come with that. But I think the more we've looked at it, the less I think there's ways to really take too much advantage of it because of the timing.
You're still planning on having the same number of seats in the lower bowl during all those football seasons, correct? You're going to have to come back for preparation for World Cup. That's not changed?
Yeah, you guys should hear this. This is one of the first things that Clark said to us. We need to host the World Cup because of what it is and what it can do for this region. And we need to make sure that every single Chiefs fan has the exact same experience in 24, 25, 26, and 27. So figure it out. Well, that's the talented team we have around us. We feel like we actually do. It's going to be a challenge to get there, but that's how we're approaching it.
Is it safe to say there'll be more of an effect on your events, like summer events? Is that where you're going to probably?
Yeah, you think about this summer, right? Think about this year. And we go from unprecedented number of AFC Championship games in a row to Super Bowl, to Super Bowl parade, to NFL draft, which, from a pride standpoint, both sides. Yeah, I was just so proud that we showed the NFL how special Kansas City is and how special our fans are. But I was also, proud of the NFL for bringing it to Kansas City and what it did for the league. It's raised the bar. You go from that to World Cup is in the middle of all that, right? Then you put Luke Combs on the stage, you put Taylor Swift on the stage twice, you got Billy Joel coming up, you got Beyonce coming up, I'm forgetting one. But think about a summer when you don't have that because you're in the middle of construction for World Cup. So we got to factor that into it as well. I mention all that because I think it reiterates the commitment that the Hunt family has made to this region. Right? When you look at the opportunity to host World Cup, it will be an economic driver that we have never seen as a region, ever. It'll have long-lasting international benefit for us as a city and as a region. When I look at the business evaluation, should we host a World Cup or should we keep doing what we're doing? When Clark evaluates my job, I sort of joked with him when we looked at him, like, okay, we can do this and we should do this. But this is what you judge me on. I can't be held to the same standard. We won't have a whole summer or two of events. So it's a bit of a balance, right? But at the end of the day, I know we've said this about parades and we said this about the draft, right? Biggest event Kansas City's ever seen, and we hit it out of the ballpark. World Cup is unprecedented when it comes to that. It's going to be the biggest thing this whole region's ever seen by a lot.
Matt, Mark, speaking of the World Cup and all the events listed off that have taken place in the last year, that successful stretches back into 2019 when the break took place in Kansas City. Just speak to the moment Kansas City's really had in terms of hosting these worldwide events over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I related to it's a special time to be part of the Chiefs organization, right? Special time to be a Chiefs fan. It's also a really special time to be part of this community. We're proud of being a part of the community and being a contributor to the community. But it's I mean, Kansas City's on a really, really good trend when you look at what we're doing. And you think about World Cup and what it'll do for sporting, what it'll do for their facility. Talking to Dr. Kennedy, I mean, think about, all the additional benefits of a World Cup. This campus is potentially a training site for another team. And again, I would relate to you that when we get to the World Cup, potentially multiple countries will be basing their teams in Kansas City, and the impact of those fans. I mean, these people come for a month and post up, and they travel from that city to the various matches. So it's a great opportunity, and it's a great time to be part of Kansas City.
Last one here. What kind of work and preparation has to be done to be ready for the Germany game? And then what kind of opportunity does that present you all in front of the World Series?
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity. I'll start there. It's a huge opportunity for us. It fits perfectly into our strategy. We've been committed to growing the brand internationally for a number of years now, and we targeted Germany early on. We were pretty disappointed last year that we weren't the first team to play over there. But when you look at it strategically, and our marketing folks have schooled me on this, like it actually plays out better to be the second. Everyone saw just how big it was last year. We've been in Germany for 3 years now, 2.5 years now. We went from being just another brand to being the #1 team in Germany on Instagram in the NFL, which is a significant point. We have had multiple trips over there, both activating marketing. So we did, to give you some perspective on how big we are in Germany now, we did a schedule release party in Germany 2 weeks after the schedule was out, and it was completely sold out. I mean, we had 150 people at this bar, and they were excited to be there. So it just gives you some perspective of how excited they are, and then to have a game there. To answer your second question, or second part of that question, from a travel perspective, we've got pretty good experience. Obviously, London, I think in 2014. We'll go a day early. We won't go a full week early. So we've got a good plan in place. We actually have people in Germany today, the last few days, doing some finals, our second trip as a prep trip to see how we're getting from hotel to field and practice and stadium and everything else. So the league does a really good job on that in giving us the resources, but then it's up to us to execute.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.